My dear children, in this third module, we are going to study the important responsibilities of a consumer. Let me ask one question. Who is a consumer? Yes, consumer means any person who buys any goods for personal use or avails of any services for a consideration. According to Section 2D of the Consumer Protection Act 1986, consumer means any person who buys any goods for a consideration and includes any user of such goods other than the person who buys such goods for consideration and uses with the permission of the person, but does not include a person who obtains such goods for resale for any commercial purpose. As we know, the important rights of the consumers are right to safety, right to be informed, right to choose, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, and right to consumer education. Now we are going to study the important responsibilities of a consumer. Every right has its own responsibility too, as right and responsibility are the two sides of the same coin. This is true because consumers are the real buyers of the products. If a consumer has certain rights, he has responsibilities too. The important responsibilities of the consumers are responsibility of self-help, proof of transactions, proper claim, and proper use of product or services. Now we are going to study these points in detail. The first one is being aware of product availability. A consumer should be fully aware of the availability of competing products so that he can make a better buying decision which he gives him higher satisfaction. Then second responsibility is buying standard products or standardized products. The customer should buy only standardized products as these products have tested features. For various products, there are prescribed marks which assure product quality. For example, ISI marks for electrical and other similar products, hallmark for jewelry, ACMark for agro products, then FPO for processed foods, etc. Then third important responsibility is providing relevant information. The consumer is required to provide all relevant information to the seller so that the latter provides the desired products to the former. Then another important responsibility is being aware of risk involved. The consumer should be aware of the risk involved in using the product. The manufacturer provides information about the types of risk involved along with the instructions for using the products. The consumer has to follow these instructions to save himself from the potential risk. Being aware of the risk involved is the another important function or another important responsibility of a consumer. The consumer should be aware about the risk involved in using the product. The manufacturer provides various information about the type of the risk involved along with the instructions for using the products. The consumer has to follow these instructions to save himself from potential risk. Then another important responsibility is buying from reliable sources. It is in the interest of the consumer that he buys the products only from the reliable sources. This practice not only protects the interest of the consumers but also the interest of the society in the form of curbing black marketing and similar other practices. Precaution in buying is another responsibility of a consumer. The consumer should take certain precautions while buying the products. He should look for the maximum retail price, that is MRP, with or without tax, date of manufacturing and expiry date, quality mark if applicable, etc. Then preserving buying proof is the another important responsibility of a consumer. The consumer should insist on cash memo on buying the products. These are the proofs of buying and should be preserved for a reasonable time so as to claim damages subsequently if the products do not work. Another important responsibility is caution against misleading advertisement. The consumer should be cautious of or about the false and misleading advertisements, as marketers tend to exaggerate their products' features in many cases. Then complaining genuine grievances is the another responsibility of a consumer. The consumer should launch the complaint about the genuine grievances with an appropriate forum. This forum may be either manufacturer or seller. If the grievances are not redressed satisfactorily, the consumer should launch a complaint with an appropriate consumer forum. Another important responsibility is environmental protection. The consumer is as much responsible for the environmental protection as the manufacturer. Therefore, the consumer should take responsible steps to environmental protections. Environmental protection, complaining genuine grievances, caution against misleading advertisements, being aware of the product availability, buying standardized products, providing relevant information, being aware of the risk involved, buying from reliable sources, precaution in buying, and preserving buying proof. These are the important responsibilities of a consumer. Thank you.